Yeah, I'm on this vision quest of working to develop empathy, and so the goal is not to play. I'm playing the first Final Fantasy right now, playing the NES. I am playing the NES. I'm not playing in Origins. I'm playing the one that has the broken spell in it that instead of debuffing your enemies 20%, it buffs them 20%. Yeah, that shit's real. That's in the game. I'm playing it where their spells that just don't do a damn thing because they were bugged. Amazing number of bugs that was released in that NES cart.
Well, as you may or may not know, the reason that the series is referred to as Final Fantasy is that it was
the last game.
Yeah, it was Squaresoft's last game that they would likely ever make because they had done
the developer's last game. The developer was handing a resignation in.
Well, it was also the company's potentially last game because they had done some other games that had not sold well.
Well, that's true too.
And if Final Fantasy didn't do well, at least to a certain degree,
it was a curtains for them type thing.
So they called it Final Fantasy because that was
their little joke, their dark humor of this is it, guys. But they had Dragon Quest came like right before it, and they were timed perfectly. I'm not accusing them of ripping Dragon Quest. They came out pretty close behind each other. And they're obviously with the grave, Here Lies Eldritch. I mean, there was time for them to look at Dragon Quest and make fun of it. But, yeah, that's right. It says Here Lies Eldritch, not Here Lies Link. If it says Here Lies Link, you're playing some Final Fantasy Origins bullshit. Where they figured, you know, you dumb Americans...
Nobody knows who Eldritch is.
No one will know who Eldritch is. And I didn't either. I had to Google it, because I, like, come across it and like, who the fuck is Eldritch? You know, because like, I haven't found an Eldritch in this entire game yet. And nobody in the town seems to know, you know, because there's not really dialogues or quests in the towns. What a shitty, like, camera play they're doing to you here.
Yeah.
Wow. Quick time event jumps.
Yeah, thank God I got
the best jumps.
The only jumps for me. I have kind of a spotted history with Final Fantasy because, you know, like around 6 as it's now known, and 7 and 8, you know, I enjoyed those games. 9 came out, it really didn't do anything for me. I hated 10, and then 11 was online only, so I never played it. And I genuinely would have lost all interest in the series going forward had 12 not been an indirect
now the latest
follow-up to Final
13,
Fantasy Tactics.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I am pro 13 to a certain extent. I admit that the story is dumb as shit. And Lightning is the only good character in that game. But
not as a Final Fantasy game, as kind of like a game on its own right type thing?
Yeah, just the story on its own is just...
Well, because, I mean, it was a linear path type thing.
I like it just fine. I like my RPGs linear. I'm not somebody who has to go out and see every corner. You know, it's why I've never really been to, like, Elder Scrolls games. I don't need to explore the entire world. You know, get me from point A to point B. I'm here for the story. And thankfully, the thing that I think really sets Final Fantasy 13 apart from other games in the series is that it has the best combat system.
But you really could have been more subtle.
Playing the game is actually fun and interesting, and a little bit more varied than press X, watch.
Wait, he's a god? Dude, in, like...
The Braves! Go Braves!
The gods we've already put down, man, like, wouldn't pick you out of their toenail, you know?
Right.
I guess this has got to be like a mini-boss. So, I guess, yeah, so I'm not trying to play Final Fantasy, I guess, the way you are. Because you seem to be of a minority, type player. Because a lot of the ones that I knew were, playing Final Fantasy... When they played 13, they absolutely hated it because it took away the open world, and a lot of elements they grew to love.
I don't know that those games were really all that open world. It's just you didn't know where to go a lot of times. You know, there wasn't like
I go, shit, man. I can tell you in Final Fantasy 1. So I decided to put some rules in place for me, and I wasn't going to just grab a walkthrough online. Because if I grab a walkthrough and I just do what the walkthrough says, I don't think I'm going to get the experience I'm looking for in this as a game designer, right? I'm just going to follow the steps of the walkthrough and be done with it. And then I'm like, well, that didn't unlock any more understanding than I had before.
Alright,
Platinum.
We're going platinum.
Platinum.
Unobtainium.
I'm still waiting for this car, unless we've already passed that moment.
I guess we've already passed that moment. That was the whole chapter? Like, that felt like a lot shorter than some of the other chapters.
Yes. By far.
Like, some of these other chapters, it's like, oh my god, when, are we gonna
And we
get
didn't
to
even
where
miss
we can
any
stop?
medals in this one.
No.
So no online guides, but I still have my Nintendo Powers. Now I don't have the Nintendo Power that was like the super guide for Final Fantasy, but I do have the 2 issues that came out when the game was released. So I've been going through those, and that's kind of helped me out a little bit of like where I need to go. Although the game does, we've just been converting these, hadn't we?
For the most part, I believe, yeah.
Although we did kind of find that last battle, like, some of the health power-ups may be worthy to have.
Right.
Although, I guess you can't buy a Mega, can we?
No.
Delimatic Flute. That unlocks Dungeon 7.
Yes, it does, and it also transports you to nearby fairy portals, so... Fairy fountain.
Alright. I have a feeling we're not far from the end of this.
I would think not. I'm sorry, I just knocked some shit over. And by the by, I'm sure you're probably aware that Nintendo is doing a HD remake of The Wind Waker.
Yes.
Very underrated Zelda game, by the way.
Now they're remaking Wii U though.
Yeah.
And the new well, not really a remake, but the new remake / Zelda Link to the Past is 3DS, right?
Yes.
Damn it, like if they would have consolidated those both on one of the 2 systems, they probably would have sold me one of the 2 systems.
Right.
But because they split it, I'm like, well, I not played Wind Waker.
Well, here's
That's good.
Here's the reason I mentioned the Wind Waker remake. They are releasing it for the exact same price tag that I paid for it back on the GameCube over a decade ago.
Oh, okay, that's a little rough.
That's dumb as shit. I mean, I understand that they're making improvements to it and whatnot, but HD remakes get released all the time for usually about $15 a game, maybe 20. That's usually an outlier, though. People are like, why is that so expensive?
Speaking of HD remakes and Final Fantasy and Square,
Right.
why the fuck hasn't there been an HD remix of Chrono Trigger? Like, that seems to me like you are leaving money on the table.
Here's the thing, though. After Chrono Cross, I don't want them to fucking touch it again, because Chrono Cross fucked up so bad.
I bought Chrono Cross as well.
I have it, and I literally stopped playing when I got to the point where you see Chrono, Marl, and Luca for the first time, and they explain to you that everything that happened in the first game, you have undone. And I'm like, fuck you. I'm done with this game.
Oh, what are we doing? Are we getting moves or what?
I was looking at equipment, possibly. If we're getting close to the end of the game, moves aren't going to help me much.
But yeah, I put in when I bought the original PS1 disc of Final Fantasy VII. After getting through all the opening cutscene, I'm like, this isn't okay. This won't be so bad. And then I hit start on the game to make sure it would load, right? And I'm like, what the hell is that? It's like a blob triangle moving. That's fucking Cloud?
Yeah.
Like, I only know Cloud from, like, Deviant Art, okay? Like, that's my image of Cloud, is like all these people's love letters, the cloud in the game, and like Robot Chicken references and things like that. Like, I've not actually seen him in the game Final Fantasy VII, and when I saw it, I'm like, oh man.
Like the in-game model,
This
not like
shit
the
is
battle
so-
model.
yeah, the in-game
it looks
model.
Shit.
Oh man, and it's like, this is so polygonal ass, that these guys that are buying the re-release, the non-HD remix Final Fantasy VII, it's not gonna hold up. You gotta have some serious nostalgia, or other desire to play that game. Alright, so we're back in
Paradiso.
Graveyard of Remembrance.
That's a foreboding title.
So maybe we'll get our memories unlocked?
Jesus. This is.
It's time to awaken. Oh, wait.
So this might be the church that was destroyed in the beginning sequence.
I don't know what the fuck I just did.
You're doing 3D platforming. The best of all platforming.
The best, the only kind of platforming, thank you.
Why would you want to go back to 2D platformers? I mean, 2D platformers are dead, man. Like, nobody plays that shit anymore. Everybody wants to play a 3D platformer. That's why Sonic is so fucking awesome, man.
Oh my god, 3D Sonic's the best. And I can't say that with enough sarcasm.
Ugh.
I've recently heard people, you know, a good bit younger than we are, talking about how they enjoyed playing Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 when they were a kid, and I'm like, did we fucking play the same game? You know, the game where you just hold forward and you will automatically run off the rails for no reason?
That's the problem of getting old, man, is when, you know, somebody...
When somebody else's nostalgia starts...
Yeah, it's like, what are you talking about? That's when it all went to shit.
Like, somebody else is nostalgic and they didn't know it was bad because they were a kid, and I'm like, wait a minute.
One day, John, you're gonna meet a kid who's gonna talk about how awesome Rare was back in the day of Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts.
I'm gonna fucking punch that kid in the fucking junk.
Oh, I'm alone in that opinion, by the way. Like, I can't even find like an alternate YouTube
You
opinion.
should be alone in that opinion.
Usually, you can find an alternate YouTube opinion on anything. Like, there's somebody, you know, just for views. I'm gonna have to be that guy. I'm gonna have to make a.
You're gonna be the voice in the wilderness, are you?
Now, what you have to understand too is that is the only Banjo-Kazooie game that I've ever played.
Uh-huh.
So I have no preconception of what they were, or nostalgia of like, oh, it's awesome. So you got this key.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the
That looks like a
fucking
keyhole.
Yeah, you'd think I'd be able to just, you know...
Oh,
there it is.
there
Thanks,
it is.
context-sensitive event. That made my life easier.
that doesn't look good. Can we not stand underneath it? Oh, okay.
Probably would have gotten platinum if I figured out how to use the fucking key earlier.
Well, I guess, could you... Oh yeah, you can walk on there. Okay. Speaking of fucking 3D platforming shit, also in my, like, I need to... So, the reason I didn't play a lot of these games, was I graduated in '94, right after the Super Nintendo launched. Went into the military, and did not own a console again until Microsoft released the original Xbox. So I played some PC games after, let's say, '99, when I was able to afford a computer again.
Yeah.
Fun fact, they don't pay you shit in the military. I went in the Air Force. So
Say they'll give you money for college, but it's not very much money.
I did buy a Super Nintendo off a guy in the military because he was flat broke, and he was like, take my Super Nintendo. He had 4 games. He had Legend of Zelda, Star Fox, I don't remember what the other 2 were. 4 games and his TV for like $100 because he was that freaking hurt up and couldn't make it until the 1st or the 15th, whatever was coming next.
All right.
And so I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't go out drinking all my money, so I've got $100. That's about all I got. But then, like, a few months later, I gave that to my brothers for Christmas because I was like, I don't have any money
To buy them a gift.
to really buy them a gift, and I kind of want to be awesome older brother, you know, like for this first, like, Christmas where I'm not at home. And it was like, yeah, here's a Super Nintendo, you know. You have no idea how much of an introverted nerd, you know, antisocial your older brother is, and this will keep that at bay for at least another year.
La, 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 la,
Oh, well.
La, 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 la. Oh, I see what's going on.
There we go.
here.